All the gauges working great. No lights are on. This was a great repair. I want to talk a little bit about what we did here. I'm not going to take this apart again, as is often the case. We're DIYers, so sometimes it's experimental, and this one was no exception. We had a lot of problems with the brake light being stuck on, even though the brake was, or the emergency brake light on, even though the emergency brake pedal, or parking brake rather, was not pressed. I thought maybe the cable was seized. That wasn't the issue. Then it kind of turned into, I think the ABS light came on. Sometimes the brake light would flash. This is just an old one of our cargos that we've been using for a tool shed while we demo our barn, and it's kind of just holding and housing, keeping dry tools and things that we're using. But it was really freaking out. We had a lot of lights on. I thought, maybe this thing was coming apart at the seams, even though it's been a really good truck. But what was really going on, figured out, was issues with the instrument cluster itself. There was even the dome light would flash intermittently. Turn this off. That key in the ignition chime would ring randomly. It was draining the battery. So it had like like sort of a phantom draw, just pulling stuff. It was really crazy. There was a lot going on. I didn't know if it was a computer, really what was going on. Did a lot of researching, figured out that there was some issues with this. I did actually, previously figure out that if I smack the dash right about here, it would respond for whatever reason. And started to kind of isolate around that and did some researching and found out they've had a lot of problems with these instrument clusters. It is widespread. Seems like in a lot of manufacturers, but at least as far as my search was, it was more Ford oriented. But I saw stuff with Mustangs, Super Duties, these Econoline vans. It just seems like a widespread problem. I don't know, it's, I guess, what happens when you have robots making solder joints. They don't really know what's going on. Turns out there's a lot of broken solder joints. I actually ended up taking this apart and touching up a few on my own. They're hard to see. You need a magnifying glass. Actually, I think they use like microscopes to actually repair these. But all boiled down, my repair wasn't enough. There was more going on with it than I was able to figure out or even see, for that matter. But really, a lot of this hinges around the fact that I made an effort. I had some video of that. It really isn't worth, because nothing much came of it. What I ended up doing was finding a company, and there's several of them online, but the only one that I really was able to find a physical location, address, and phone number for, easily, was Circuit Board Medics. They're in South Carolina. They did a really great job. They answered the phone right away. There wasn't even like an auto attendant or anything. It was picked up the phone and said hello, and in any case, answered all my questions. It was a super easy process. In my case, I opted to get, they will repair your cluster. If you'd like to keep your old one, you have to send it to them first, obviously, and then they can repair it and send it back. In my case, I didn't really care that much. I chose to do the remanufactured one, where they'll send you first, and they'll ask you for your mileage, and you just give that to them. You need to give your VIN also, but they'll program it and send it to you, and you pop off the existing lens, which is super easy. You don't even need tools. Just use your fingers to pop off your existing clear acrylic lens and pop it on the one they sent you. Basically, I prepaid for the return shipping and put that in the box and sent it back. But this stuff, it was a really simple repair. there's a lot of videos online about getting your dash apart, particularly on these Econolines, but it really just boils down to, in this one, a couple 7 mils here and here under the dash. You do have to pop the radio out, and you need the pins that actually go in here to be able to remove the radio, but it just unplugs, and then this entire panel is just push pins. I found it easier to put the key in the ignition, drop the shifter, drop the steering wheel tilt. You do have to pop your headlight knob, and there's a little tab on there somewhere to depress right there. There's a metal tab back there that you do need to pull on to get that thing to release, and then you need to unthread this knob. It just twists out. I'm not going to bore with a detailed video. If you happen to have this vehicle, you can find plenty of those online. But you know, a couple plugs for the power outlets here, and that's pretty much it. This thing has 4 more 7 mils actually holding the cluster, and then there's the actual selector indicator that pops right out the bottom. Just 2 side clips, and don't even need tools, just fingers. Just be careful. But other than that, cluster's free. I think I had the old one out and the new one in, and I don't even know if it was 20 minutes. Now, I had done this before, so I knew exactly what I was doing, which is why I thought it was worth maybe doing a brief overview of how simple this is. But, yeah, I guess that wasn't snapped in all the way. Got it now. Anyway, did want to just make a video about this because it really seemed like there was a lot more going on. It seemed like a big deal. And at the end of the day, about 20 minutes, and I think they were $250 for the remanufactured option. They will repair yours for $200, but usually it includes, or there's added shipping. You need to ship to them and return ship, I would imagine. So, you know, if you have them repair yours, maybe in for like $230, something like that. I was all in for like $260 after tax and return shipping and everything. But again, the issues I was dealing with, I couldn't even leave the battery connected because it would go flat dead. Not to mention the fact that the power would intermittently drop on the cluster. And various lights, and I mean, it was just, this thing would light up like a Christmas tree sometimes. Sometimes it would work normally. There were times we couldn't get the mileage, so the little mileage screen would just drop out or scramble, and you couldn't read what the mileage was. It was just crazy, and I thought there was a lot going on, so I thought this could be helpful. You know, if you have some of these issues going on, look at your cluster, maybe research your specific vehicle, and you'll find that it had problems too. And, you know, a couple $100, and most of these, I'm sure, anymore, are pretty easy to remove with a lot of these push pin. It's just a matter of figuring out where they're at, maybe needing a panel tool to be careful not to break anything. But anyway, hope this helps. 4 Boys out.